Hi, I'm Anthony of Sydney Backyard Veggies. Winter's finally arrived here in Sydney, late May. It's been raining the whole week. It's been actually quite difficult to get out in the patch. But I've had a break in the weather at the moment, and I'm looking at harvesting some of my Chinese cabbage today. And in this planting that I have behind me, I'd planted out close to 20 plants, and they were planted out in early February and they're ready to go. Now, the variety is called Matilda, and just feeling the heads, it's actually feeling quite firm. They could probably, some of them could probably do a little bit longer, especially small ones like this, but these ones are definitely ready to go. I need to get on top of them because the disease is starting to spread a bit in the leaves, as you can just see there. But the hearts of these womboks will be clean for my harvest. I'm going to be harvesting this one, which just feels quite ready. Likewise, this head here, and you can just see, you can just feel, when you're feeling it, this feels firm inside, and that's a sign it's ready to go. Probably this one as well, if I end up taking 3 out. Over at my first one, just going to make sure I move it away from the irrigation line. There we go. Just cut off the root ball. Beautiful. It's got a little bit of weight to it too. It's quite clean, but it's got a little bit of slug damage, as you can just see there. Slug waste, and that's expected, all this rain that we've been having over the last week. I planted these womboks out in early February. I planted them out as seedlings that I raised, and they don't take that long to grow. Funny enough, this has been probably an 8 to 9 week growing season for these plants. I find that the key is a lot of nitrogen fertilizer early on to really get them to start growing fast. But also you want to be able to plant these out in the warmer part of autumn so that they've got time to put on size before the cold sets in. I have grown wombok, another round of wombok planted out now in about 2 or 3 weeks time, and I have harvested those in late August, but they are prone to bolting then, so trying to plant them earlier in the season is better than later. But there's my second one. Beautiful. And just got to get rid of a lot of this rubbish. I'm going to harvest one more and then clean up the cabbages. With Chinese cabbage, you also run the risk of the plants rotting in the ground if you're not too careful. Too much water will cause them to rot, and as you can just see on this plant, the leaves are just starting to show the first signs of rot, and that's usually just happens, I find, if you plant your plants too close. In my first season of planting Chinese cabbage, I planted them at 20-25 centimeter spacings, and they just were too close and the rot really set in. This planting now has been planted at 40 centimeters, and I'm finding that works quite well, giving them enough space so they're not getting waterlogged and making sure there's enough air going around the plant. So not very little rot showing up on these ones, so, and it's looking quite good at the moment. I'm going to clean this up and I'll show you the final harvest. I find wombok is an absolute magnet for pests, especially I find slugs after a lot of big rains will get into the heads, so it's really important to stay on top of any slug infestation in your garden. Also find that you're in the warmer months, the cabbage moth larvae get in there and really make a meal of these plants. And aphids, if you're not careful, you'll get a lot of aphids on these plants as well, so you need to control them. I use pyrethrum personally in my garden. If you don't want to use pyrethrum, you could look at using like a homemade white oil or some sort of other homemade spray to control them. As of all the damaged leaves, these get fed to chickens, and you can just see a little slug there. Just finished cleaning up my womboks before this rain starts coming in. I got myself 3 nice heads, really good weights too. I'm really happy with how they came out. And although one of them did have a little bit of damage just over here, I think that might have happened when it was first planted out, and it's got a little bit of rot coming inside, but we'll just eat around that. They'll get cleaned up. These are going to family and friends, and we'll make an absolute meal of these. These usually get, in my household, these usually get cooked and made into Asian soups and stir fries, or you could also use them to make coleslaw, Asian coleslaw, which is a great meal. I'm going to try to make some kimchi. Never done it before, but since I've got plenty more heads in the garden, I might give it a go and see how it turns out. Really happy with how these are going. I'm actually just started my second planting, and I will be getting that in the ground in about 3 weeks time, so mid-June. If you are looking at planting some, get these seedlings done, grown out now for planting in that 3 weeks time frame, and hopefully then those ones will be harvested in early August, before it gets too hot for the plants to grow. And as for the rest of the crop, over the next 2 or 3 weeks I'll have the most of the larger ones harvested. I still have a few smaller ones which I'll keep for a bit longer, but the intent is I want to clear this whole area of the garden, and I'll be looking at planting more cauliflowers in that spot. I do have a few seedlings I need to get out, and I'll be putting more cauliflowers in this space. Just heading into the patch this afternoon just to try and harvest some more veggies for dinner. I'm over this time at my radishes, and I'm going to be harvesting a few radishes, and we like to eat these fresh with our meals. But I really want to show you this variety. This is the variety I grow all the time from now on. I find this variety produces well. You don't get very few plants that have no bulb. All of them seem to bulb up, and it's excellent. And let's just show you, this is my radish patch, and you can just see everything's bulbed up. If you can just see that here, essentially every radish is bulbed up. So this is excellent. I have had trouble for a long time growing radishes. I'll show you the variety that I'm growing at the moment, and this is my recommendation for anyone in Sydney to grow this one. The variety I'm growing is Scarlet Globe, and you can just buy this from your local nursery for about $3. It's plenty of seeds. I can at least get 3 or 4 patches planted out with the number of seeds you get in this packet. The radishes, I'll just grab one. I like to pick them maybe just a little bit larger than that, but that's something bite-sized like that is perfect. I find I don't get woody too fast, not piffy, and it's just a perfect, essentially perfect salad radish. I'm going to harvest a few now, clean them up, and I'll take them inside for dinner. Finished harvesting, got myself about 15-16 radishes. That's plenty for dinner tonight. What I'll do is I'll just wash off the soil and essentially top and tail the radishes. Probably keep a few of the younger leaves, which actually are quite tasty and actually quite mild to eat. And these will be all eaten tonight. These will be in all throughout dinner. I'm going to be planting another round. I need to get one in the ground. I'm trying to plant them out at 4 weeks intervals, so that I've got to harvest all the way through the season. And I just need to find a few spots around in the garden. Really quick crop to plant if you've got a bit of space where you're waiting in between seasons and you're trying to get a filler crop in while you're waiting. So try to get yourself a few radishes, and the Scarlet Globe is the go-to one. And before I wrap up this video, just want to show you what my rest of my garden is doing and what I'll be looking at harvesting over the next week or so. First things first, I'm over at my sugar snap peas, and they are now just starting to come into harvest. You can just see these pods are just starting to bulb up, and I've got plenty at the moment. Look, this first planting I really struggled, and you can see I tried my best to fight off the powdery mildew that's been coming up in these plants, but they seem to have just really struggled earlier on with the heat. Still got lots of flowers, a lot of crop coming through, but I'm not going to be able to. I'll probably be harvesting these for about a month, and then they'll be moved on. I'll probably plant another round of peas in their spot. But it's nice to have sugar snap peas this early in the season. Could have been stir fries or eating them fresh, right, like I am now. Beautiful crunch. The variety is Yates climbing, and I find this is the best sugar snap pea variety that I can grow in my patch. High producer and generally low maintenance and fairly disease resistant, but I guess it's just trying to prove me wrong at the moment. But this is the only variety I grow. And in addition to the peas, getting really close to start harvesting my cauliflowers. And now if I bring you close, I can show you a few heads are just starting to form up. Got beautiful heads showing up, and a couple of the plants. Got 28 in this spot, and I'm literally a week away. So I'm hoping in my next video I'll be showing you a great harvest of cauliflower. Still harvesting a lot of my celeries. Still got about 4 left. These need to go. Likewise, still harvesting a lot of silver beet, and I should be harvesting soon my first planting of pak choi, which I've just interplanted in here. This will be done next week as well. Really looking forward to getting more Asian greens in the kitchen. And with my succession planting of cauliflower on the weekend, I planted out 15 new seedlings here. This is my second planting. They've been in the ground for about 2 days now, and they're starting to settle in. Still got a lot more seedlings to plant out. They're going to get planted out in the spots where I've just removed those womboks, and I'll be planting them out this weekend once I clear out those 2 rows. So the key here for me is just always constantly think about the next planting of vegetables. That way you've always got food coming out of your garden. You've always got something for the dinner table and something to give to family and friends. So always, me personally, I'm always thinking 4 to 6 weeks ahead in my garden to see where I'm at. And hopefully these cauliflowers do as well as that first crop. Thank you very much everyone for joining me in this video. I really appreciate all the support. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me via a comment in this video or via my socials, TikTok and Instagram. Thank you again for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.